Hello everyone and welcome to Until the End of Time. My name is Werner. This is going to be a hopefully pretty relaxed video. It's Friday afternoon, not that much going on, about to have weekend, and I decided, got a couple of spare hours. Let's record one fun episode because this is going to be a video containing Preston, which was a investigator that was highly desired going by the straw poll from about a week ago. And I figured he didn't win the straw poll, but he did do very well. So I figured, let's do a video with him. And of course, we had to pick a second one. It was going to be Stella because we now have her signatures, and I wanted to give her a little showing. So yeah, let's talk about these investigators a bit. Preston Fairmont from the Circle Undone is a rogue. He's the millionaire. He has 1 willpower, 1 intellect, 1 combat, and 1 agility, which is the second worst stat line in the game. The only one that's worse is Calvin's, 0, 0, 0, 0. He is Silver Twilight and Socialite traded, and he reads, anytime you gain 1 or more resources from a card effect, place them on your family inheritance instead of in your resource pool. He has an Elder Sign effect, +0. You may spend 2 resources to automatically succeed instead. 7 health and 7 sanity. His deck building options are Rogue card 0 to 5, Survivor card 0 to 2, and he cannot take illicit cards. Now, let's talk about his inheritance, because that's the big one, of course. Family inheritance, a windfall or a burden. Permanent, Preston Fairmont's deck only. Action, move all resources from this card to your resource pool. Forced, when your turn begins, place 4 resources from the token pool on this card. Resources on this card may be spent as if they were in your resource pool. Discard all resources from this card at the end of your turn. So basically, Preston gains 4 additional resources every turn. However, any money he makes, he has to either spend an action to clear it off of his inheritance, or it just goes away. This deck was actually built by a member of the community, Snack. He's in the Mythosbuster Discord. He's also on Reddit, I think, but I don't remember his Reddit username offhand. He's an awesome guy. He's very excited about Preston every time we talk about him. And I asked him if he wanted to make a deck for him, and I said he totally came through. This is a 9 XP standalone deck. I'll talk about the scenario in a moment. Real quick, Stella, if you happen to somehow be able to follow this channel and not know what Stella does yet, she's the newest survivor from the from the Investigator starter decks. 3 willpower, 2 intellect, 3 combat, 4 agility, chosen and civic traits. After you fail a skill test, you may take an additional action during your turn this round, limit once per round. And a Elder Sign effect, +1, you may instead choose to automatically fail the skill test to heal 1 damage and 1 horror, 8 health, 8 sanity. She can only take Survivor cards level 0 to 5 and Neutral cards 0 to 5. If you follow this channel, you know that recently we got to her. We learned about her signature skill, Neither Rain nor Snow. Go check out that video if you haven't seen it yet, but here it is. So this is going to be the first video I make with these signatures actually in there. There's 3 of them. Stella is running a 19 XP deck. She does have additional basic weaknesses. We also don't know Stella's signature weakness yet, which is why I'm running 3 basic weaknesses in her at the moment. Preston gets away with only a single basic weakness. It's a little easier on him. Okay, that was a lot. Now let's talk about what I'm actually playing. We are playing Threads of Fate. Threads of Fate is the 3rd scenario in the Forgotten Age campaign. This is the first scenario after the big box, and it takes place in Arkham. And I think it's probably in the community's it's definitely in the community's top 5 favorite scenarios ever. There are plenty of people who call it their favorite. It is a how do you describe it? There are 3 acts, and you are basically running around Arkham trying to do all these very different tasks that sometimes overlap and sometimes don't. And it's a lot of fun, and I hope to kind of showcase that here, because it's a very cool scenario. If you haven't played Forgotten Age and you don't care about spoilers, if you do care about spoilers, turn away now. If you don't care about spoilers, what has happened is a group of investigators has gone into the jungle of Mexico, and they've recovered some kind of relic with the help of Alejandro, who is a researcher and explorer, basically. And while in the jungle, they met a woman named Ixchaka, who lived there, a part of a tribe of natives that had been somehow managed to remain hidden for several 100 years. And essentially, we are now back in Arkham, but things seem to be going, things haven't quite gone as we expected and as we were about to find out. So what happened is Ixchaka, the native woman from all the way in Mexico suddenly showed up on her doorstep, and now we have to wonder what she's doing here. Intro 1. The night passes with Ichitaka resting in your living room. You get no sleep for the remainder of the night, your thoughts drifting between concern and disbelief. Her story is preposterous, but you feel compelled to believe it nonetheless. You've known that the relic from the Edgley ruins had some deeper purpose ever since you first laid eyes on it. When you emerge from your bedroom the next morning, your uninvited guest is sitting at your dining room table, arms crossed tightly across her chest. Her piercing eyes trace your every move like a bird watching its prey. No pleasantries are exchanged. Where is the relic now? Ichitaka asks impatiently. Where have you brought it? You explain that it is safe, in good hands. She shakes her head, her knuckles white with frustration. I assure you, it is not. For the purposes of the standalone, I'm going to say that we have given the relic to Alejandro, which means we proceed to Intro 2. Intro 2. Setting aside your many questions for the time being, you call your contact at Miskatonic University Museum. Despite the early hour, Dr. Horowitz should be at her office preparing for the long day ahead of her. The operator connects you with a short delay. Ellie gives you an unusually curt greeting, her voice cracking and unsteady. As soon as you ask about the relic, she scoffs. Not you, too! Mr. Wallstedt is practically knocking down my office door, and 2 reporters have been harassing me all morning. You ask her what the trouble is, and she lets out a long sigh. The relic is missing, she explains. None of the security guards know what happened. 1 minute it was in the display case, the next it was gone. And before you ask, no, Mr. Vela is nowhere to be found. That's Alejandro. Suddenly, she is yelling to another party. 1 moment, please, I am on the telephone. She apologizes to you tersely and hangs up a moment later. Sure enough, Alejandro is not answering his telephone, and none of his other associates have seen him since yesterday. Believe me now? Ichitaka asks, rising to her feet and gathering her things. We wasted enough time. Find the relic and meet me back here tonight. Don't follow me. We must now decide whether to let Ichitaka go or demand her to hear her side of the story. So we're going to ask her, you're not going anywhere until you tell me what's going on. Intro 4. Ichitaka grits her teeth and pauses. You expect her to refuse and leave without answering your questions, but surprisingly, she relents. According to Ichitaka, her people have spent ages protecting the relic from interlopers who would use it for nefarious purposes. She speaks cryptically in half riddles and tall tales, although she refuses to explain where her people come from and how they have remained hidden for so long. When pressed about the relic, all she says is that it controls the flow of time, and it must not be tampered with. It must return to its rightful place, she explains. Her gaze is relentless, unwavering. Do you understand? It cannot fall into the wrong hands. If you help me recover it, I will aid you in return. Just promise me you will not use it. We remember that we listened to Ichitaka's tale, and now we go to setup. A whole bunch of cards. We're using a lot of the cards from Midnight Masks, especially the locations. I don't believe we have to do anything special for now. Oh, we need to set the relic and Alejandro aside. Relic's actually not in here. It's a little annoying. I'll check on that a moment later. We'll need it later, but okay. Okay, then we do what makes this scenario so unique. There are 3 act decks. Each of these act decks is determined based on specific events. So we gave the relic to Alejandro, which means that we are using the relic is missing at the exhibit, and then, so these 3 acts are essentially modified based on our choices, and I'll go through them in a moment. The only other choice that you have to know is that we have decided to go to ask the police about the fact that Alejandro has disappeared. And I believe that's all. So the agenda is 3 fates. You have 3 tasks before you and a limited amount of time before the trail goes cold. Where do you search first? Okay, so this is our agenda. There are 3 agendas in the deck. Act 1A, the relic is missing. The Edgley relic was last seen at its display case in the Edgley exhibit at the Miskatonic Museum. Ichitaka fears that the relic could have been used for terrible purposes if left in the wrong hands. You must recover it. Objectives: only investigators at the Miskatonic University can spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. 2 clues to advance. Missing persons. Suspecting foul play, you decided to go to the police to enlist their help in searching for Alejandro. Only investigators in Easttown can spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. 2 clues. And the Guardian's Inquiry. Ichitaka tells you that she saw several Edgley artifacts on sale in a strange shop near the northwestern edge of the city. She wants to head in that direction to investigate further. Objectives: only investigators at Northside can spend their clues as a group to advance. So we have 3 acts, all of which require 2 clues to advance. So we're just gonna, run around town. We have a whole bunch. We're starting at Rivertown. We have a bunch of locations you might recognize from Midnight Masks, which is the Miskatonic University, Northside, downtown, and I believe this is the bank variant, because there's two variants of downtown, but you have to pick a specific one. Easttown, and we have two new ones. We have Velma's Diner, which is connected to Easttown and vice versa, and the Curiosity Shop, or it's a Chopé. So it is basically connected to Northside. Alright, let's draw opening hands. Okay, oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so this is a Preston deck that Lola Santiago is a pretty important part, because you can spend a lot of Preston's money to use her ability to discover clues, because you don't care that you have Intellect 1 if you can just buy clues. Speaking of buying clues, we have this Intel report, also very good, right? Normally paying 4 for 2 clues is a lot, but for Preston that's literally 1 turn worth of money, not even. We also have Fire Axe, which is his go-to weapon, I guess, in this deck. There are builds around Preston which revolve around having a lot of money in your pool. Those decks usually use cards like Well Connected. This deck doesn't use that. I don't need 2 Fire Axes though, so I'm going to mulligan 1. And finally, you handle this one, lets us pass a Treachery over to Stella, which, if, you know, sometimes we just don't want to deal with a Treachery. We also get some money if we do that. We're going to draw 1 more card. Oh, okay, that's... Would have preferred not to draw a second of a unique card. We do have a Charisma, but we can't have 2 Lolas in play at the same time. Alrighty, ooh, okay. So we have the old keyring, which is basically sort of a mini flashlight, but you only lose charges if you fail the check, or if you don't fail, if you succeed the check. I need to say that properly. So this is really good for setting up, like, look what I found tricks. As it sits, this hand is pretty decent. I think I'm gonna mulligan both of my signatures, because I don't really know if I have a use for it right now, and I would like to have a little bit more shenanigans like that, and like that. Yeah, that seems like a really good opening hand. Let's get started. I'm just gonna add 1 little action item for Stella. River Town. So the River Town has 2 clues and 1 shroud, so that seems like maybe a good place for Preston to start picking up clues with Lola. Otherwise, I think Stella is gonna try shenanigans at the university. We can resolve these acts in any order. There are a couple of tricks you can use to make it a little bit easier on yourself, but in general, we're gonna want to try to spread them out a little, so we follow each lead one at a time. We don't rush down one path. But starting by going after the relic seems like a good idea. So Preston is going to start his turn. He gets 4 money. Spend 3 of that to pay for Lola. Spend 1 and activate Lola to grab a clue. That one. And I think the rest of my turn is going to be... I think I'm going to try to grab that second clue because I have a Lola I can commit. Although if I lose this Lola, having a backup might be good, because she is pretty centered to our deck. I think we're just going to draw a card as our next action. It's a look what I found. Excellent. Going to be seeing a lot of that one today, I think. And for our last action, we're just going to play Fire Axe. Have a little bit of backup. Fire Axe, I kind of assume most people know what this does, but just in case you don't. 1 cost asset, combat icon, action fight. If you have no money in your resource pool, the attack does +1 damage. And during an attack, you can spend 1 resource to get +2 combat, and you can do that 3 times per attack. So this could potentially be +6. In Preston, the way this works is that money on your inheritance doesn't actually count as money in your resource pool. So if you have no money in your actual resource pool, but you have money on the inheritance, you can use that money to boost his combat checks, because, you know, combat 1 doesn't matter that much if you can just give yourself +6. And you can still deal 2 damage. So yeah, Fire Axe is a good weapon if you don't mind spending lots of money, which some decks don't like doing. Okay, well, over onto Stella. Kind of want to do some shenanigans. So yeah, let's move over to the Miskatonic University. Ooh, that's a lot of clues. 4 Shroud, 4 clues. Action to spend to search the top 6 cards of your deck for a tome or spell card. I don't believe either of our decks care about that. And it's a victory point, though. Again, standalone, not that relevant. I'm going to play the old keyring. And I'm going to investigate using the old keyring. and I'm going to commit take hard. So this is a bit risky. The investigation, it gets -2 shroud. I'm really hoping to fail here. If I draw a 0, this is going to go a little poorly. I draw a -5 instead. That's exactly what I needed. Okay, so what happens here is a whole bunch of triggers start happening. So first of all, Stella gets an extra action. We fail a skill test because we're 0 versus 2. Because the shroud is still reduced. And I talked about the flashlight triggering tricks earlier. I'll talk about them again right now. So the way Arkham works is that even if your skill value would go into negative because of the token, like in this case we have intellect 2, we get a -5, we would end up at a -3, but the skill value can't go lower than 0, so we end up at 0 versus a shroud of 2. So what that means is that we can now play, look what I found. Pay 2 resources to get 2 clues. Then we can also trigger take heart. The test failed, so we draw 2 cards and gain 2 resources. Oh, that's the wrong hand. And we didn't even, that's not the right amount of money. I think I forgot to pay for old keyring. Should get 4. And we got an action back, and we still have our keyring used because we didn't succeed. So yeah, excellent. We got, that was a really good third action. For our last action, better safe than sorry. Let's play the Derringer. This is also a card from the Investigator starter deck, as is the keyring, by the way. This is the level 2 Derringer. It has 3 ammo. It gives us +2 when we attack with it, +1 damage. If we miss, we get the ammo back, and we get +1 combat for the next attack. So awesome little cards. Alrighty, let's go to the upkeep. Okay. Okay. Alright, 1 out of 6 Doom. Let's see some encounter cards. It is a locked door. Alright. The locked door attaches to the Miskatonic University, as it is the location with the most clues that doesn't have a locked door attached to it. And this location can now no longer be investigated. We'll see about that. Alright. And we have a false lead. Okay. This is kind of bad because what is it going to do is it's going to make us drop our clues here unless we can pass an intellect 4 test. I don't think Stella is in the business of passing intellect 4 tests. Okay, this wasn't going to be this bad, but now it's pretty bad. I could throw in a whole bunch of intellect icons and probably still fail. So no, I'm just going to take the hit. -3. Okay, glad I didn't commit. We get our extra action. And we lose both of our clues back onto location. So all that awesomeness from just now just got undone by false lead. Thanks, false lead. Hate you too. Yeah, okay, things look kind of bad, but luckily there are solutions. Preston gets a whole bunch of money. Moves on over here, and now very importantly, we cannot investigate here, but we've got this Vintel report. Spend 4 to discover 2 clues here, because we can use the first reaction ability to make it 2 clues by increasing its cost by 2. So it's a 4-cost event, discover 2 clues. I'm actually going to slightly cheat and back up real quick. While I was here, I'm just gonna use Lola to pick up a clue. I was contemplating whether I was going to pick it up there or here, and I think I'm better off grabbing it here. So should be at 4 clues now. 2 from here, 2 from here. As far as like that, my policy usually on that is if nothing happened in the meantime that was random, so no chaos tokens were pulled, no cards were drawn, anything like that, it's usually fine to do those kinds of backups just to keep the game going and not worry about it too much. Okay, well, we have an act we can actually advance. We are at the Miskatonic University and we have the requisite number of clues, so we're going to do that. Preston should be at 2 actions because he's moved and then played into reports. Ooh. We have the Atelier exhibits. Put it into play with 4 clues on it. And it is connected to the Michigan University. And probably nothing else, just double check. Nope, okay. And vice versa, this is connected to the university. No, not on there, there. And it reads, put the revelation, put it into play. After you reveal a special token, while investigating it, take 1 horror. Alright, what does our new act say? At the exhibit, one of the museum's security guards, a man named Drew Walker, recognized you from your prior work with Alejandro and Dr. Horowitz. Look, I ain't supposed to be letting anybody into the exhibit, but the coppers don't know from nothing when it comes to this hokum. He steps right and lets you pass. If anybody asks, you slipped in while I was using the John, alright? Don't take any wooden nickels. Only investigators in the Edgley exhibit can spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. Well, let's see. We have options. Obviously, we could head to other parts of the map. If we head to Easttown, which is over here, we can start looking for Alejandro at the police station. If we head to Northside, which is actually over here, we can try meeting up with Ichtaka. Yeah, you know what? Let's leave the exhibit alone for the moment. Let's move over here and actually advance again. So Northside, 3 shrouds, 2 clues per investigator, so 4 clues, and an action to spend 5 resources to gain 2 clues from the token pool. Preston's gonna enjoy doing that. Group limit once per game. But while we're here, we can advance the E/F act. Guardian's Inquiry. So let's go. We are in Northside, we spend 2 clues, and we find Maria da Silva. Put her into play in the Curiosity shop. She's a wealthy patron. Spend the next resource to parley, chat with Maria about the artifact on Still. Test Intellect 3. If you succeed, place a clue on her from the token pool. Exquisite, aren't they? Act 2E, Strange Relics. Inside the shop, a middle-aged woman wearing the height of fashion inspects the Edgley relic on display with admiration. How did these relics get here? And what does this woman know about all of this? If there are 2 clues on her, you must remove them and immediately advance. Alright. Well, Preston's done for now. Gonna go check that out later. Preston does have Find Clothes in his deck, so despite this being an Intellect 3 test, he could probably manage if he can find his Find Clothes. And we're over to Stella, who has a 4-action turn because she did fail a test in Mythos. And she has some choices to make. I think, given the circumstances, we're gonna go run down to the exhibit and try to clear that out. So first action is move. Second action is going to be investigating with the keyring. So this is a 2 versus 1. Actually gonna take a quick look at what I have in my discard pile. Because I have a resourceful and a keyring in hand, so I could also throw both of those in there. Could also use the live and learn. Yeah, we're gonna lead with this. So we're at a 4 versus 1. Oh, and we draw the -5. Well, there goes our resourceful. Don't really care about anything else, but the resourceful is kind of painful. Yeah, do we live and learn here? We still get the -2, but no, let's not do that. Yeah, we're gonna need to draw some cards first. I'm gonna draw a card at Waylay, that's not very useful, and let's draw another card. It is an Alter Fate. It would let us discard, it's a survivor event that lets us discard anything that isn't attached to a lead enemy at fast speed, which is pretty nasty. Okay, upkeep. It doesn't target enemies, by the way, I should mention that. Only treachery. There's the other Fire Axe again. And Treachery is not the best draw so far. Definitely need to get a little bit better. The secret must be kept. Peril. Test Willpower 3. If you fail, take a damage and a horror. For each act deck the investigator has completed, skill test gets +1 difficulty, deals +1 damage with horror. Well, at the moment this is only 1 damage and 1 horror, so I'm totally fine failing this one. Skull, which is highest number of doom on a cultist enemy. We haven't seen any cultists yet, so that's just a -0, but Preston being Preston, he totally fails. Putting a damage and horror on Lola. Guess the cultist went after her instead of Preston. And ooh, Conspiracy of Blood. This is a wacky one. So it attaches to the agenda, and that agenda gets -1 doom thresholds. But every cultist enemy now has a parlay action where we can test willpower 4. If we succeed, we discard the Conspiracy of Blood from play. But if we fail, we put a doom on that enemy. This is bad also because we haven't seen any cultists yet, so we're going to have to draw into a cultist or two in order to get rid of that. Well, preferably one cultist, but yeah. Well, this certainly is a thing, isn't it? Sorry, I'm trying to think how to best approach the current, scenario. There are a lot of clues on the board, but plenty which are hard to get for too low, or like intellect 1 and intellect 2 do not make it for the best investigators, it would seem. I'm gonna start with Stella and give this another go. Investigating with the old keyring. No, I don't throw that away yet. -2. We failed that. Okay, gonna play live and learn after we take our extra action, or get our extra action rather. Interesting. We get the cultist token, which is a -2. If you do not succeed by at least 1, take a damage. I believe that with the keyring we used, with the key rather, we are succeeding by exactly 1 because we also get +2 from live and learn. So we don't take any damage, and we get a clue. Excellent. Things are going a little bit better, at least on that front. Second action gonna be draw cards. So I'm drawing all of my enemy management tools, but don't have any enemies yet. I'll draw one more card, and then yeah, I'll play track shoot last action. Yeah, Stella has ways of getting these clues, but she just needs to draw into them, and right now she also hasn't found Rabbit's Foot yet, which is her best like draw engine. Okay, over to Preston. He's got his 4 resources every turn. So I could just run on over to Maria da Silva, but I feel like that's ill-advised. I feel like that might end up very poorly. Instead, I think maybe. I mean, we don't have our Fine Close yet, which is something we definitely want. So let's draw first. Maybe we draw our Fine Close. We do not. We draw a Decoy, which is similar to Intel Report, but it's an invasion you can do both remotely and targeting multiple enemies and automatically, which is really good. Yeah, we could just grab 2 clues. And we can also probably try with look what I found. So yeah, we'll spend 5 clues to get, 5 resources to get 2 clues. It's almost weekend, I'm getting really tired. Yeah, and then we're gonna investigate. Last action. We're at intellect 2 versus 3. We're hoping to draw a 0 plus, no actually we're not hoping to draw +1. Hey, +1 would be fine. +1, 0, -1 is fine. We draw 0. Excellent. We fail by 1. We're going to play look what I found. Get 2 more clues. Yeah, no, pretty reasonable. Upkeep. It is a rabbit's foot. Well, we got 1 rabbit's foot. Hopefully we get the other one. No. Okay, well, that's not bad. Okay, so this is now 3 out of 5 with the Conspiracy of Blood. Let's hope we draw a cultist. No, we draw another Secret Must Be Kept. Yeah, it's another damage in horror. Not too scared. Ooh, well, it's actually 2 damage in 1 horror. But still manageable for now, and I'd rather have those now rather than when I've completed one of the acts. Mysterious Chanting. We did find a cultist. Rather, we would place 2 Doom on an enemy, but there are none, so we're gonna go find ourselves a cultist and place them for more fun. Acolyte is just gonna have to spawn over here. Oh, no, please spawn at the Miskatonic. Actually, do I want him there? Yes, that's the best place. And he does get a Doom on him, of course. Alright. Well, let's start by trying to make sure that we have a way to get these Conspiracy of Blood out of the way. So move. Acolyte engages Stella. Stella is actually, I just realized I could have also Alter Fated the Conspiracy of Blood. I haven't played with Alter Fate in a while yet. I forget how good that card is. This is still fine though. There's nothing, and we would have drawn the Mysterious Chanting anyway. So yes, we're going to attempt a willpower 4 test. You say? I'm not too worried because I can always kill the Acolyte because the Doom goes on the Acolyte. So yeah, I'm gonna try parlay 3 versus 4. Elder Sign. I'll just succeed. Okay. Sometimes you just succeed. We've talked with the Acolytes and they've been okay with cancelling the Conspiracy of Blood for now. Then I'm going to punch the Acolyte, or do I just want to shoot it? So the reason I'm debating this is the shot Derringer ammo is pretty valuable. But I have this lucky on hand, so I could just throw a punch, and assuming I draw in this case it would be a -1 or better, I don't have to play the lucky, and if I do have to play the lucky, let's just throw a punch. This would be the third action. We're autofail. That's not something we can lucky against. We do get our Stella action. Well, in that case, I don't really feel like missing, so I'm gonna use the Derringer. Don't think there's enough zeros in the bag to be worth. Come on. I could have just thrown a punch. Wasted one of my ammo. Okay, well, Acolyte's dealt with. The Conspiracy of Blood is gone. All in all, not a bad day at the office. Well, over on Preston's side, let's get 4 resources. Let's spend one of those resources to play this Rabbit's Foot. Let's spend 2 more resources. Actually, let's investigate. Second action, investigate. We draw a Cultist token. Cultist token is a -2, so we would be at the 0. Yes, no, we're just failing. And we also take another damage, so we have to be a little careful now. It's starting to hurt a bit. We draw a card with Rabbit's Foot. It is a Trial by Fire. Interesting. Well, we're not using that now. So I'm going to spend 3 resources with Lola to grab a clue here. And I'm going to last action move into the Curiosity Shop. 4 clues, 2 shroud, connected to north side. While you are here, reduce the cost of each relic asset you play by 2. And of course we are now with Maria de Silva. We can start asking her questions, though we don't have our fine clothes yet. Let's proceed to upkeep. Oh, sorry. I mean, we don't have our fine clothes. We do have a Trial by Fire. Also, we just drew this Take Heart. Now, Stella's gearing up to start murdering a lot. 2 fighter flights, some track shoot. Could also evade like crazy. Okay, 4 out of 6. All the Doom cards have been removed, so just 4 out of 6. Hunting Shadow. Ooh. So normally this would be pretty straightforward. You just take the 2 damage, but Preston's actually been getting pretty beat up. So I think I'm going to spend the clue. We have already... Normally I don't, for example, get the clues on north side from his from the resource ability. This time I did, so I feel like I can afford to spend the 1 clue. Hope that doesn't come back to bite me. Oh, and I'm at the... Come on! I'm at the museum again. Okay, so we're false leading again. It's another intellect test. In this case, it's probably gonna... It's gonna be an autofail. We get an extra action. We lose our 1 clue. Back on the location. We cry on the inside. We cry on the outside. Annoyingly, that this now means we need to find a clue somewhere to get the Add to the Exhibit cleared. Because in order to advance, we need 4 clues. So, Stella's having a rough day of mail delivery. Although we could use the Alter Fate to clear the locked door if we so desire. We can also just take an agility test, which perhaps is a bit more her speed. The problem is at that point we have a 4 shroud location that we probably still don't get to investigate. So I'm gonna just spend some action with Stella drawing cards. We'll go first. There it is. Okay, Rabbit's Foot. Now we're talking. Second action is play Rabbit's Foot. Third action is try to break down the locked door. Commit these track shoes. That succeeds. We don't forget the other lock, the track shoot is giving us a +1 agility as well. So I'm not tempted to investigate here, but I feel like the more prudent move would be to take a move action. No, maybe not. Sorry, I'm having to decide what to do with my last action, because we got that bonus action already, which is why just investigating here seems pointless if we don't have anything that necessarily benefits from us succeeding. I guess, no, you know what, I am going to investigate, and the reason is pretty straightforward. If I succeed, I just get the clue, and that means I can then go to the exhibit and clear that out, and if I fail, I still get to draw a card with Rabbit's Foot. So either way, I feel like I'm coming out a little ahead there. Of course, that's also an option. I just take 1 damage. And we take another damage. Oh man, Stella is having a rough day today. I believe in you, girl. You can do it. Okay, over to Preston. So we have 2 lines of play here. We can either go straight ahead with the parlaying, or we could start clearing the room. And I think I like clearing the room more. So we're going to investigate. We're going to commit. See, now I feel like I commit Take Heart to something else down the line and be guaranteed a failure, because right now I feel like with 2v2 I'm just going to succeed by accident. Of course, when I don't commit to Take Heart, I'm going to fail, because that's how Arkham works, right? If you commit to Take Heart, you automatically succeed, and otherwise not. Okay, so we have to place a Doom on nearest Cult's enemy. Luckily there are none. We do fill by 2. Look what I found. Draw 2 cards, gain 2 resources. Oh, awesome. And also exhaust Rabbit Foots, draw another card. Okay, so we drew Leo De Luca. Preferably we would play him when we have a full resource pool, and then just get, you know, a lot of money. But for now we're going to play Fine Clothes, second action. And since we have the extra resource lying around and we have Fine Clothes now, we're just going to parlay with Maria. So this is now a difficulty 1 skill test. And I'm just going to throw in the spare Lola, since we have the extra soak on Leo now. Or going to have it at least. And so the reason, if you point out, the reason I'm spending the last resources, in order to parlay with her, we have to pay her 1. So yes, we succeed. We place 1 clue on her. When she has 2 clues on her, we advance. Also, I forgot to grab the clues with, look what I found. So just going to do that real quick. That's the round. So I'm going to do the upkeep. Oh. Whoa. Okay, well, I said I was going to do the upkeep, but now things have escalated a little bit. Okay. Sorry, I should talk. I'm interrupting my own thoughts, which is a problem. So I drew Overzealous. I draw Nobody's Home, which makes it so you have to spend 2 actions to investigate location. Fortunately, Preston gets to mostly bypass this by just using Lola, so that's fine. Which also surges because that card. Okay, we surge into an Acolyte. That's bad because that just costs us a turn. Okay. Gonna have to pick the placement of the Acolyte carefully. I think I'm gonna put him over here. That's really unfortunate. We do get a resource. Sorry, yeah, so I was gonna say, so the status of going right now, it was going pretty well, and then I drew that Acolyte, which is terrible. We're well on our way of completing the Ichtaka storyline. The Relic, I think we're also pretty okay on if Stella can draw some good cards in the coming upkeeps. That's not exactly what we need. But I feel like we're gonna go that way. We haven't started on our Andre quest yet, which is tricky. Okay, so Doom. We advance, sadly. So we shuffle the encounter deck. Oh, sorry, at Sun's Peak. The town is bustling as noon comes and goes. University students travel from class to class. Business people take breaks from their busy office lives. In East Town, Velma's Diner is abuzz with the lunch rush. Despite this veil of normality, the curtain has been lifted. You see this town for what it really is, an endless mire of secrets. So we shuffle the encounter deck into the discard pile into the encounter deck, other way around. And we, if we had already completed one of the acts, we would get one doom on the agenda. Behind the curtain. This conspiracy runs much deeper than you had imagined. The more time you spend investigating these mysteries, the more you come to realize that they are linked to one another. The center of these secrets is an enigmatic organization manipulating events behind the scenes. And that's the same resign action. 6 doom. Okay. Okay, so this is one of the core cards for the cultist out of the Charts of Fate, Words of Power. While there are one or more enemies at your location with Doom on them, you cannot damage those enemies or discover clues at your location. Action, discard Words of Power. So at the moment it's pretty harmless, but this can really mess you up. Luckily we have Alter Fate, which takes those kind of problems out of our hands very quickly. Okay, Shadowed, interesting. If there are no cultist enemies in play, take 1 horror and Shadow gains Surge. I love that and I hate that, because I love that it's a card that surges but also does something bad, but I also love that if there are no cultists, you're just being paranoid, so you take horror. Otherwise, find the cultist enemy nearest to you, place 1 Doom on the enemy, and test Willpower X. X is that enemy's fight value. If you fail, take 2 horror. So Willpower 3 test. She kind of want to fill here. Gets Rabbit's Foot, gets a card. We don't care about the horror. Actually, it turns on our test fight or flights, but sadly we just succeed. Okay, well, we didn't take any horror. I guess that's fine. Oh, boy. So, Stella's going to want to probably deal with that Acolyte now. I was planning to leave him alone, but he immediately picked up another Doom, and that's making the skulls worse, doing other stuff. I also really want to clear that internal injury, and I also want to trigger all my fail effects. So I'm going to start with that one. I'm going to investigate with the keyring here. Draw an auto-fail. Excellent. So the charge is not used because it only gets removed on success. We draw a card. What's good once is good twice. Let's spend 2 actions to clear the internal injury. And then let's think about our options for a moment. We have 1 action left. We could run into the exhibit. The thing is that I would like to use Drag Shoes to get ourselves a little bit extra movement. But there's nowhere really we can go and utilize that movement. I think grabbing clues here is kind of pointless. Going into the Acolyte's room right now is, or to Rivertown is pointless because it's just going to punch F. Yeah, it's not a great place to be in. We also are basically at our hand size, so if we don't want to discard something, we don't draw right now. Could investigate again at our current location. Try to get that clue anyway. No, you know what? We're just gonna draw. Lost action. Always never draw lost action. Hey, it's Granny. Finally! Okay, this is a card that we've been looking for. This gives us +1 willpower and +1 intellect, which is the main use, but she also acts as a mini lucky. Whenever any investigator at your location would fail a skill test, you exhaust her, you give her either +1 or -1 skill value. This is what we need to get these clues. This is what I've been hoping to draw this whole time. And we got it. Okay, good. Is it supposed to have charisma? Oh, right, it also has LaBranche. Right, I have 2 allies in my deck that I haven't drawn yet, which is, you know, annoying. That's Stella. Pretty decent to Stella turn. We got rid of the internal injury at least. Okay, over to Preston. So I'm going to try to parlay again. The main reason I'm doing it this way is so there's stuff that could happen with Maria, and if I want to be ready for whatever happens. So I spent 1 more resource, parlay, 2 versus 1. I'm not going to commit anything. Show me. It's an auto-fail. Alrighty. Draw a card with Rabbit's Foot. So if I close. Second action is going to be parlay with Maria. Hoping it's not the enemy version. -2. I believe I still failed. That's annoying. And it went so well before. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my last action. So I can either play Leo or what I'm going to do is spend 2 resources. Again, this modifies, Nobody's Home modifies the effect of investigates, not actual discovering of clues. So we're just going to grab this clue, test the sleep, but that doesn't take an action. My last action is going to be grab a resource. Note that Preston only forces the resource from card effects to go into his inheritance, not just the basic resource action. So we're fine here. That was disappointing. Hope for a little bit more from Preston. Going into upkeep. I think we have to check hand size on both our investigators now. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, we don't need to find clothes. Go away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Throw away the rabbit's foot. All right. First doom, well, second doom. Mysterious chanting. Now there's 3 doom on this acolyte. Stella, deal with it. And it's a bird. Ooh, this is scary. Ordered Cultist, Hunter, 2, 3, 2. Gets +1 fight and +1 evade for every doom on it. Forced, when you attack it, you place 1 doom on it. You do that before you actually calculate the fight, so it gets the +1 fight for that attack. Luckily, we're not really in the business of fighting people. We're just gonna run away from them. We can also use Waylay if we feel like it. I would prefer to play Granny Orn, but I believe our plan for right now is evade him, move, shoot the acolyte, to make sure that we don't advance like 3 turns early. So evade. That's a -3 now, so that's a little nasty. Though at our agility is currently 5, so we still pass. Move. Fire gun. No need to commit anything. Tablets, -2. We are high enough that it... actually, hold on. +2 combat, -2 combat, so we're tying. So we have to put 1 doom on a nearest cultist enemy. That's going to be this one, and then he dies. And yes, that is how that works. Token effect for... this, if you do not succeed, basically is a step 7 skill test, same time that actually the damage will be dealt. So I'll just resolve them in whatever order I want, and in this case, you know, I prefer the order that kills the cultist. So that's 1 crisis averted. Back over to Preston. Yeah, so first action, I'm gonna spend all this money and play Leo, which gives me an extra bonus action every turn. Something I hope is going to be pretty helpful. Next, I'm going to parlay with her again. I really wish I had like a single intellect. I guess I do on the you handle this one, huh? No, you're just gonna believe. Elder sign, awesome, 0, succeed. We advance. If there are 2 clues, we must immediately advance. Uh-oh. Seems that our old friend may not have been quite what she appeared. Maria de Silva knows more than she lets on. 3 fight, 4 health, 2 evade. Humanoid, conspirator, and elite. Revelation. Switch this card with the bystander version of Maria de Silva, removing that version from the game. Remember that she is Ichtaka's prey. Advance to Act 3E. The Brotherhood is revealed. Retaliate. You don't understand what you are meddling in. 1 victory point, 1 damage, and 1 horror. So the Brotherhood is revealed. Ichtaka has found the target of her hunt. The mysterious cult has been revealed. But what is their ultimate purpose? Ichtaka's prey each get +1 fight, +2 health, and +1 evade while at a location with no clues on it. If each of Ichtaka's prey is no longer in play, advance. Well, fortunately, we didn't pick up the last clue here yet, so that's actually not the case. So she's just going to be a 3/4/2. That's still a bit of a problem, but it's less of a problem than it might otherwise be. And we have 2 actions left. We could actually have her dead, now that I think about it. Although we have to do this kind of shenanigan-y. Because the problem is that we want to, if we want to kill her, we're going to have to hit her with 2 Fire Axe swings. In order to do that, and both of those Fire Axe swings have to have 0 resources pumped into them, or have to have and thus with 0 resources, because otherwise this doesn't work. Which I think makes it pretty unlikely that we'll actually succeed on that. But I've played war shots. I've played war shots. The thing is that I'm looking at Rise to the Occasion, like Maria da Silva. Notably, that would work here. The biggest problem is that if I use Rise to the Occasion without using Trial by Fire, sorry, I can't use Rise to the Occasion and Trial by Fire because Trial by Fire sets the base value of my skill to 5, and the difficulty has to be 2 higher than the base skill value. And if I don't play Trial by Fire, I don't get the 0 resource on the first attack. So I will have to do 1 damage and then 2 damage, and that doesn't kill her. You know what? I'm feeling lucky. Play Trial by Fire, then attack her with the Fire Axe, spending 3 resources. I'm now at 0 resources. And swing and a hit, deal 2 damage. Then attack again, committing the Fire Axe. I'm at 6 versus 3. She does have Retaliate. Draw 0, smack her face in. Excellent. She has a victory point, so she goes to the victory display. And we advance. That was fast. If it was, if the attacker player was Maria da Silva, you interrogate Maria while the angry Etsley warrior looms over her. Who do you work for? What is your purpose? Maria purses her lips tightly, then looks away into the distance. I'll tell you what you need to know. I'll tell you about the Brotherhood. The investigator nearest to Maria da Silva takes control to set aside Ichtaka, the Forgotten Guardian. Remove the remainder of this act deck from the game. If there's another act card in play until you're playing, otherwise proceed to resolution 1. That's actually a little unfortunate, because I believe that means that one of my allies just died. So, Ichtaka, the Forgotten Guardian, 4-cost asset, combat, agility, and wild icons, ally, Etsley, and Wayfarer traded. You get +1 combat, you get +2 combat instead while attacking an enemy with Victory X. You get +1 agility, +2 agility instead while attempting to invade an enemy with Vengeance X. To add an enemy to the victory display, exhaust Ichtaka, you and Ichtaka each heal 1 horror. And now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that if I only have 2 ally slots, I have to choose to discard one of my allies, which is actually super awkward here. So the primary problem is that I already know that my ally Lola Santiago is in the discard pile, because I don't want Ichtaka, right? She's actively like not doing what I want to do, but I do not have a choice whether or not I want to take control of Ichtaka. I have to. And if I get rid of Lola, chances are that Preston doesn't get any more clues for the rest of the scenario, which is not a risk I want to take. So I've just spent 6 resources and action to get an extra action. People, this is what we call in the business a bad idea. Okay. I believe Stella already went, so we're going to upkeep. Draw a card. One of these days I'm going to stop drawing allies and funny cards and stop laughing about it, but we drew overzealous, so we're going to die. Secret must be kept. Oh, so now it's 2 damage and 2 horror if we fail, and difficulty 4 willpower test. Guess what? I'm Stella. I don't give a... Ooh, I might give a damn. -2. Really wish I had Granny Orn in play. It's 2 damage and 2 horror. I'm fine. Stella. Taken worse. Surges. Into Darkness. Test agility 4. If you fail, take a damage and a horror, and then move to the location we're already at. Okay. 0. We make it. Alrighty. 2 overzealous in one game is a bit too much, by the way. 1 doom. And counter guards. Shadows. There's a cultist, so this guy gets a doom. Then we test his combat value. If we fail, we take 2 horror. Actually realized maybe I should have thrown this to check. Oh wait, no, we have soaks now. So, yep, just gonna fail or not. We can actually spend resources. That's awkward. Right, so Preston's Elder Sign is 0. If we spend 2 resources, we automatically succeed, but we're actually out of money, and the money on his inheritance is only there during his turn. So we still fail. We do get to draw a card with Rabbit's Foot, which is nice. Oh, what's that? It's counter supplies, which somehow seems to be much brighter red than all the other cards. We can choose a level 0 card in our discard pile to add it to our hand, which is probably going to be an intel report at this point. Maybe look what I found. Basically, it's going to be a clue card. Stella is going to draw a locked door, which gets attached. Well, it either gets attached to the university or to the exhibit, and I don't want it on the exhibit, so I guess it's going there. Alrighty. Stella, first action is going to be a move. If I wasn't so good at agility, I would be really tempted to use the track shoes to try and get myself extra actions by failing the agility test. But the problem is there's a very high chance I actually just pass the test, unfortunately. And I want to waylay here, I think. Part of me is was tempted to play Granny Orn, but I really just need to get this cultist off the board before more Doom-related cards start showing up. So evasion, make it, and then last action is going to be waylay. So waylay, you choose an enemy that's already been exhausted, and you test agility where basically you try to evade them again, and if you succeed, you defeat them. Basically. Yeah. -2, you succeed. This guy is defeated. Okay. Stella's been set back quite a bit, but she can probably still get some Granny Orn action going on pretty soon. I really hope I don't draw the other basic weakness she still has left. Okay, over to Preston. We've completed one of our act cards, which is nice. We probably want to clear out this place before leaving, and then we probably want to proceed to the police station. Spend 2 resources and activate Lola. Get this last clue. Then we're gonna move. Oh wait, actually we don't have that bonus action anymore. Although speaking of that bonus action, I think what I'm going to do is try to build up a bit of Preston's money. And in order to do that, I'm going to spend 1 turn using both Take Hearts and then clearing his inheritance, but that's going to be next turn. So for now I'm going to play Scrounge for Supplies to get back into our parts. And then I'm going to just take a resource. So move, Scrounge, resource. Okay, upkeep. It's interesting, yeah, so I lost these 2 resources. Draw, gain a resource, check hand size, or fine. Draw, resource, 1, 2, 3, 4, also fine here. Mythos. Doom click ticking on steadily. Hunting Nightgaunts. Ooh, okay, well, that changes our plans a bit. Nightgaunts, annoyingly, really, really freaking tough, and annoying to evade, and all this other BS, so have to pick our battles here. This one actually surges because we don't have any clues anymore. We are at the museum again. And it has locked door again. Nobody home. Okay, so now the university has nobody home and there's a locked door. I don't think we're going to try to investigate it anymore. We get it, game. You don't want us to. Alrighty. Stella, move. Investigate. Do not commit anything. Do not use the old key ring. Commit Take Heart. -5, failed tremendously. So we get an extra action. We exhaust Private Foods, we draw a card. We draw 2 cards and gain 2 oh, that's the wrong one. Oh boy. And then we have to resolve Amnesia. This is the worst amnesia I've ever seen. Just so you know. Just so you're all aware, you're watching me suffer for your amusement. Well, we're gonna start by checking everything. So the one card we can keep, we can choose basically between... Well, it's not going to be Alter Fate. It's not going to be a gun. We still have one off on the table. It's not going to be what I found. So we keep the Granny. Play Granny Orn. Weep as our soul is torn out through our amnesia. And investigate with the keyring. 0 succeeds. Keyring gets trashed, I believe. Yeah. And we get a clue. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, this scenario is apparently, or rather, my basic weaknesses are out for blood. This scenario is actually being relatively kind, all things considered. I have a couple of choices to make here. Most of them relating around whether or not I want to kill the Nightgaunts or whether I want to evade the Nightgaunts. I think in this situation, fighting is just strictly better. So I'm going to spend 3 resources, or first action, I'm going to fight. Spend all my money into Fire Axe. So that would be a 6, +6 from here, +1 from here. It does not have vengeance or victory points, right? Yeah, that's with Victory Axe. So we're attacking at an 8 versus 3. Hit, deal 2 damage. Attack again, spending... I think 2 resources enough from our inheritance. So that would be a... Sorry, 6 versus 3. Seems good. We could throw in the price of occasion, but... Hit. Kill it. Excellent. Well, we're broke. Things have not exactly been going our way. But we're still kicking. Last action, we'll just get actually, in that case, I'm just going to clear the inheritance. So using the action, I think I actually misplayed that either last turn or the turn before that. I should have just cleared the inheritance. But yeah, you can just action, move all the resources. So we're back up to 2 resources now. We're going to upkeep. Yeah, so I haven't really talked about this concept called tempo on the channel before, I think. I'd like to take a moment to talk about it now. Need to figure out my upkeep first. Tempo, it is a concept that gets used more in competitive card games a lot more than in Arkham. But there's actually a good article. I'll try to post a link in the description if I can find it. Basically, the idea is that as you are playing the game, you are either going faster than the agenda deck or slower, and the cards you're drawing either impact your tempo a little or a lot, right? Like in this case, the Nightgaunt was actually fairly low tempo hits because we could hit it with the Fire Axe, and in general, the encounter cards are designed to be tempo hits, one way or another. And the Amnesia we drew was a massive tempo hit because it cost us 8 cards worth of tempo, which is, if you imagine that as 8 card draw, or actions to draw cards, 8 actions, right? And while you usually won't spend 8 actions in a game drawing cards, it's still a big hit. And so while tempo is hard to quantify, I think a lot of players instinctively understand whether or not they're getting a good tempo. And as you can see now, Preston is getting a pretty good tempo. He's got allies on the board that he can use their abilities for. He's got econ, he's got cards in hand. Meanwhile, the problem Stella's having isn't that individual things are necessarily going wrong, it's that her tempo keeps getting interrupted, right? She's never in a position where she can take advantage of this snowball effect to get ahead of the scenario and start doing things, right? So that's really interesting to see here. It's I think a pretty good example of those kind of snowball effects. But we'll see how it goes. We still have an entire agenda to go. We drew Mysterious Chanting, so there's a cultist coming into play, which is probably just going to get brained by Preston. Oh, actually, that's not research. Research in here. Acolyte going at the downtown. I actually thought this question come up a couple of times recently, so I just want to clarify it. If you don't know, empty locations is any, because the Acolyte has to spawn at an empty location. Any empty location is any location that does not have a enemy or a investigator. It can be a unrevealed location, unless specified otherwise, and it is treacheries also don't matter. So I could just put it at the university. That's also an empty location. Not sure if anybody who's watching didn't know that, but if you didn't, now you do. And Words of Power. And that actually reminds me, Preston also has a Words of Power, which means that he can't actually brain this acolyte, because he can't damage it or discover clues at it, unless he's willing to lose 2 actions doing it. The problem is, if he doesn't kill the acolyte, bad stuff happens, and we already lost our, what you call it, the Alter Fates, because we got amnesia. Which brings us to a somewhat unfortunate but not unbeatable situation. But we're gonna have to do some out-of-the-box thinking. What we're gonna do is Stella goes first, move, trigger Track Shoes, and Track Shoes reads we can exhaust them after we move to take a Agility 3 test, and if we succeed, we get to move again. We succeed. In fact, we do take the 1 damage. Ooh, starts getting a little beat up here. We get here, and then we spend 2 actions to clear Preston's Word of Power, as we can discard cards or we can interact with abilities of cards on somebody else's threat area. Which then means Preston is free to walk on over here. It's the first bank of Arkham. We can get some money here. And brain this guy in the head with a fire axe. I'm not sure that's regulation. Spend 2 resources. Yeah. Skull, -1. Crunch. The shard here is 3, so we could Lola, but we don't want to. We have clues enough, so we're just gonna clear the inheritance again. I would really like to spend 1 turn really building up Preston's economy, right? Like take heart and maybe use the gain 3 actions, but at the moment we really don't have the time to do that. Getting beater and batten all over the place. We have another hand size issue. Keep running into this issue where I don't have enough hands. I don't think we need 2 Rise of the Occasions. 5 out of 6. We also, so talking about tempo just a moment ago, notice how despite the fact that we did get this act cleared pretty quickly, we have now lost a lot of tempo in the last couple of turns, because we basically haven't accomplished anything. Okay, this might actually work out in our favor. So I'm going to use you handle this one, which lets me throw the encounter cards to Stella. And then we get a resource, though that resource goes on our inheritance. Note that this ability still works outside of, or rather this ability, even outside Preston's turn. It's just that they get cleared at the end of his turn. So he'll have 5 this turn. So now Stella's taking this test. It's an Agility 4 test, which she's Agility 5. Elder Sign, I will choose to automatically fail and heal 1 damage and a horror. So I'll heal a damage and a horror. Then I'll take a damage and a horror. And you might think, well, aren't you just back at equilibrium? No, because we draw a card with the Rabbit's Foot, we get an extra action, and we get sent to the central location. Now, the central location in this map is Rivertown. Specifically, it's looking for a location with a central keyword, or trait, not keyword. And this is where we wanted to be, I think, because we might want to head over to East. We want to be close to East Town, we also want to be close here. I guess this wasn't that far away, but I wanted the extra action, and they draw from Rabbit's Foot, and the Elder Sign neatly cancelled out the damage and horror here. Pretty sure I wouldn't have done it otherwise, because the damage was going to hurt. And we get another Conspiracy Block, which I think in this case is completely pointless, because despite the fact that the agenda is now at its advancement threshold, we have already checked if we're going to advance this turn. We're not going to do that again, and it's going to discard with this agenda. All right. With all of that being said, what are we actually doing? Well, I think Stella is going to try to... That's a good question. I think we're going to try to clear the police station and maybe do a tempo or do a mass econ on Preston. Because I feel... okay, so sorry, I should put my thoughts into sounds. The problem I'm having here is that Stella doesn't have her old key ring. She does have Granny Orn, but 3 versus 2 here, 3 isn't good enough. She's already drawn a card with Rabbit's Foot, so she could run over to the exhibit and maybe try to investigate once with something like Another Rain or Snow. But ultimately, that's probably going to result in a... I mean, it does give us a chance to maybe discard Words of Power, draw a couple more cards. No, I'm starting to talk myself into this. Yeah, no, we're going to do that. Okay, we're going to exhaust Track Shoes once we moved here. To test agility, that's an easy success. Because remember, skulls are number of doom. There are no cultists in play right now. Yeah, so now we're here. We're going to investigate. We're just going to throw in Nether Rain or Snow. So interestingly, we still take the 1 horror here, actually. Because this is not an if you fill effect, this is an after you reveal the token effect. And we do still reveal the token, even though the rest of the stuff... Actually, also we don't fail the test, which is sort of relevant. So we get the clue. We are going to need Preston to get over here, but clearing this out alone is probably good enough. And get rid of the Words of Power. Don't need that. Get it out of there. Especially for what is probably our primary fighter at this point, though. Preston's doing a bit of ass kicking too. Okay. Up to 5 resources. So an alternative to the build up a bunch of money would be just playing another Leo, probably replacing Ichtaka. I feel like this is fine and it would be a bit of a waste of money, so I'm going to investigate, commit, take heart. Fail, get 2 resources and draw 2 cards. Excellent, some stuff I can discard as well. Yeah, I'm going to spend an action to gain 3 resources from this, goes in my inheritance. And then I'm going to spend an action to add 10 resources to my resource pool. Okay, so Preston at the very least is loaded enough to be like decoy, into report. For the next coming bit, it does mean that Fire Axe is basically now turned off for the next little while, but I'm hoping Stella's going to deal with enemies, or we can just evade them with decoy. Speaking of enemies, think on your feet also works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Discard the Rabbit's Foot. 1, 2, 3. No hand size issues here. No sir, just other issues. Advance. Not sure what happened with the camera there, sorry. The sun sets. The streets begin to empty as evening approaches. When the office buildings shut their door, the clubs open theirs. And in places both public and hidden from view. In downtown Arkham, the War Theatre is well lit and filled to capacity. The surrounding streets, however, are eerily quiet. Only soft footsteps from nearby alleyways hint at any sign of life, and a cold wind whistles through the air. The workday might have ended, but your work is far from over. The figures walking down the street start to fill you with a sense of dread instead of comfort. Shuffling color deck. If there are only 2 actics in play, place a doom on it. So we have 5 turns. That's not a lot. Especially given that we haven't even started on Alejandro's storyline yet. Preston's gonna have to double time it. Or get, get tossed to the wolves. Now we are actually at agility 3 at this point. So it's not like we don't have a hand that could potentially beat this test. Also, I just remembered, these are both not base modifiers, so we're just going to throw in Rise in the Occasion. So we are now at 6 versus 4. Let's hope it's enough. It is, but we have to put a Doom... Oh, well, that's not a problem. Put a Doom on the nearest cultist enemy. Well, if you can find one, you can have it, but no. Who? Okay, we're spending another clue. This means that Preston has to come over to help us. Because we can't probably get these clues, or get the 4 clues required to advance this act otherwise. It actually makes me wonder if I should just run over as Preston, but no, I think I'm gonna try to get Preston to spawn the police station first. So yes, Preston's gonna go first. 4 resources in his pool. He's gonna move. Welcome to East Town. Reduce the cost of each ally asset you play by 2. Ooh, tempting to maybe play Leo after all. Spend 2 clues. to find the police. The police station, Arkham police station, spawns with 4 clues, revelation put into play. We can search our deck for weapons, because apparently we can just access the police locker. And 3 shroud, 4 clues. At the station, only investigators at the police station can spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. Now, curiously, Preston just has enough clues. Plus, you know, zero issues. Move. Just gonna play intel report, because I'm not gonna use my money otherwise. So spend 4 resources to just discover 2 clues at our location. Maybe we do that again next turn. I mean, this is a victory point location. In campaign play, obviously, that would matter a whole lot more. Right now, it doesn't matter as much. But I do, you know, I do consider the amount of VP earned at the end of the scenario kind of an indication of how it went. And we advance to the train tracks. Revelation, put the train tracks into play. Attach Alejandro Vela to the train tracks. Advance to Act 3C, Alejandro's prison. North side is connected to train tracks, and we can spend a clue to draw 4 cards. So Alejandro's over here. One of the police officers claims they've seen Alejandro down by the train tracks, flanked by several robed figures. You believe Alejandro is held captive somewhere in this location. You must rescue him. While Alejandro Vela is attached to a location, it gets +2 shroud. If he's attached to a location with no remaining clues, advance. Well, I feel like we maybe don't use the intel report on the police station then. But this does hopefully mean we can clear this out, no problem. We do really want the relic back though, so let's pass it on over to Stella and try to get the old relic back. I want my relic back. Draw cards. Ooh, interesting. Investigate. No commitments, nothing. Massive failure. Excellent. Draw cards. Gain an extraction. Play, live and learn. Investigate again, this time with a +2 bonus. Still don't think I need to commit anything. Elder Sign. Tempted to heal here, but no, we just want that clue. So we're gonna get the clue. Okay, so we are 2 clues short of actually advancing here. Because in order to advance we require 4 clues. But we are at the very least, we've cleared this out, which is a VP. And, you know, maybe we do something a little unorthodox here. And we have Stella run over to try to rescue Alejandro, while Preston pushes on to the... You know, that's not even that bad of an idea, because Preston can also remotely get these clues. Because he's got intel report, remember? And intel report can act up to 2 locations away with the second ability. You use that one less, but for 6 resources, this is discover 2 clues from a location up to 2 locations away. So yes, we're going to have Stella run over that way, using track shoes to make another move, hopefully. Yes. And yeah, we'll move in here. I think my goal is to... well, I mean, we could use that action next turn if we haven't found anything, but we might also find... Do we have another... Look what I found in our deck. Looking at our Discord pile. No, we don't. Okay, then I don't think we have any double clues left. So in that case, it's probably going to be down to Preston. Okay, upkeep. This is getting pretty exciting, right? We have not a lot of Doom left, but we are nearly done with the scenario. And, well, there's 3 cards left in my deck, and apparently 2 of them were... 4 out of the 4 cards, 2 were LeBranch. We have a Dark Horse here. If you have no resources, you get +1 to each of your skills. This is a viable way of building Preston, of course. We currently have 18 resources. This ain't doing anything. Second Doom, encounter cards. A Hunting Nightgaunts. We're gonna play Think on Your Feet. So the Nightgaunts does indeed still spawn at the police station, but Preston's just gonna get a free move. 1, 2, almost there. And a Acolyte. Ooh, that's nasty, but not too bad. We'll have it spawn here in the old north side with a Doom on him. We really have to kill all these acolytes as they show up now, because ain't no way to get around it otherwise. Yes, so Stella's gonna go first. Move. Shoot the acolyte. There's not really a reason not to use the gun while we have it. Hit and kill the acolyte. And gotta try to get this last clue because it's a victory point. Commit Night Rainer Snow. 0. Excellent. Got the clue. Alrighty. Now, Preston. Move. Spend 4 of his resources plus 2 more to play Trial by Fire. Or, Trial by Fire, sorry. To play Intel Report. Discovering 2 clues from a location up to 2 connections away. If Alejandro Vela is attached to a location with no clues, advance. If he's attached to the train tracks, after searching up and down for nearly an hour, you hear a voice coming from one of the storage cars. Seal decides Alejandro, murmuring to himself. Thank goodness, he exclaims as you enter. I was just trying to figure out why they brought me here. The investigator nearest the train tracks takes control of Alejandro Vela, removes the remainder of the C/D deck from the game. Well, luckily, Stella still had her ally slot open. She didn't play the brunch. If there's still an act in play, continue playing. I believe this would be if Alejandro wasn't attached to the train cards. So with 1 act left, it is the original AB deck. We have to get to the exhibit. And I believe Preston has a single action left over because he moved and then played Intel Report. He's just gonna move again. Let's get over here. Yeah, the race is on to get to the exhibit and try to advance that last act before things go awry. We're nearly there, people. Right, there's one of those left. I think one of these cards is another Labranche, and the other is my last, might very well be my last weakness. So let's be careful drawing a Stella. Words of Power, that's fine. And Brotherhood Cultist, that's less amazing, but we can deal with that. Okay, Preston's gonna go first. Racing off. I think he's just gonna take a double move. He does have 4 resources in his pool, obviously. Yeah, so move, and then immediately advance. We spend our 4 clues. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. The relic's location. You search the exhibit where the relic was to be on display, looking for signs of where it might have been taken. Though you find no concrete evidence, on the ground near the exhibit entrance, you notice several recent scuff marks made by men's shoes. You ask Drew, who was last to see the exhibit after Alejandro left. Some suits, government types, he replies. They had clearing to see the exhibit from Mr. Wallstead, the curator. It's far from proof of the relic's location, but it's a lead. Hopefully one will point you in the right direction. Put the set aside town hall location in play if it was already in play. 2 clues to it. Attach the set aside relic of ages to the town hall. If there are 2 or fewer acts in play, add an additional 2 clues to the town hall. Advance to Act 3A, find the relic. So we have to find the town hall. And we have to add 2 clues to it because it is the last act to enter play. And we advance to find the relic. Find the relic. Well, the relic is attached to a location. Location gets +2 shroud. I don't believe the relic of age is actually set aside because of a slight quirk in the tabletop simulator. So this is going to be our Fox relic because we don't actually need it for anything else. And the relic is attached to downtown. So Stella's nearby, but Preston is very definitely not. Well, let's hurry on over there. Preston's gonna just take a move action. Well, Preston, well, Stella, this is your chance to redeem yourself. Evade. Ooh, -5. Actually, do want to make a double check here. I'm not at any kind of ruins location or ancient location, rather. Just making sure because I'm at agility 5. I'm 1 short of using Granny Orn to actually pass this test. Gonna risk it. Try the. Oh no, wait. So the other cards in my deck are Granny Orn and Labranche. So the last card is Labranche. Get an extra action. Use that action. Try to evade again. Excellent. Move. And then trigger track shoes to move again. Excellent. We are in the town hall. So there are now 4 clues in the town hall. We have to discard until we have... Come on, man. Okay. We have to discard until we have 3 cards in hand. And there are 4 clues here. Shroud is 6 because of the +2. And we have to get all the clues here to advance. Well, we don't need to parlay anymore. And I also don't think I'm going to be playing Lebranche. Well, I might have a use for a agility or intellect or a will icon on Granny Orn. So yeah. Was that everything? Evade, evade again, move. No, I believe I have 1 action left. Awkwardly, the old 6 intellect or 6 investigate is a little tough. Come on, let's go for it. We're nearly there. Throw in Neither Rain nor Snow, throw in Granny Orn. We have the +1 from here as well. Skulls are zeros. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 2, yeah, we make it. Excellent. So expecting to have to use Granny Orn at some point, but it seems like we might get through the entire scenario without ever using her. Alright. Yeah, upkeep. Oh, actually, enemy phase first. This Hunting Nightgaunts gonna move. Should it have already moved last turn? Yes, it should have. But it's too far back to backtrack now, so I'm not going to do that. My apologies, I forgot about the Nightgaunt. Draw a card, gain a resource. 1, 2, 3, we're good there. Draw a card, it's going to be a Lebranche. Gain a resource. Okay, Mythos phase. 4 out of 6 Doom, we're so close. False leads. Dropping 1 clue is not a problem. We'll just commit take heart. We'll fail. Drop our 1 clue on our location. So net result is Miskatonic University has the exact same amount of clues that it started the game with. We draw cards, 2 cards, get a resource. Actually, wait, no, we don't get 2 resources on us. We get 2 resources on the pole because take heart. Stella draws a Hunting Shadow. We'll lose a clue. Okay. So Preston has everything he ever needs to get those clues, except for the whole part where he isn't actually at the right location. So I think 1, 2, 3. Trying to figure out what to prioritize, because I have Lola. So if I get into the location, I can spend this turn 6 resources to get 1 clue, 6 resources next turn to get 1 clue, and then spend whatever's left at that point to just, you know, clear location. And I think that's more important, which means that this Brotherhood Cultist has to go. So Stella's gonna move, trigger track shoes, move again. I do have to actually check if that doesn't do anything bad. It does actually, because I'm only at a 5. So I take 1 more damage. Ooh, that's starting to get annoying. Oh wait, we have Alejandro now. Alejandro, get hurt. Evade the Brotherhood Cultist. Elder Sign will choose to automatically fail. He will damage in a horror. Trigger Rabbit's Foot. Take another horror. But we get to shuffle our deck and draw a card. Maybe it's something really good. It's Rabbit's Foot. Okay. Normally good, not that good right now. We get our extra action. Evade. -2, but if we do not succeed by at least 1, but I believe we do succeed by at least 1 because we're 5 versus 2, so yes, we're good. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna waylay. Don't see any reason for me to run back up there because I don't think I'm gonna make that. And waylay lets me get rid of this cultist in case he suddenly gets a whole bunch of doom or anything. Okay. I don't think it actually matters thinking about it because we're advancing the turn after next turn anyway. So unless Preston somehow draws a bunch of encounter cards, I think we're good. Okay, Preston is going to move, and move again. He should have 6 resources in his pool, by the way. Go in here. Wait, is it when you reveal or when you enter? Oh, okay, it's when you enter, so I have to discard half my hand here. That goes. That goes. This is really annoying right now. Like that, okay. Spend 6 resources with Lola, get 1 clue. Okay, just 2 more clues to go, people. Just 2 more clues. We can do this. Okay, Hunter, and then Upkeep. Yeah, really nervous that I draw another enemy with, or another weakness with Stella. Okay, 5 out of 6. It's now or never, people. It's an Acolyte. Excellent. We'll put that over elsewhere, because that's not gonna matter. Conspiracy's Blood also doesn't matter, right? We advance this turn one way or another, or next turn one way or another. And I prefer not to be around when that happens. Okay, so Preston gets 4 resources. And now I have to think really, really hard. Okay, this is what I know. I can get 1 clue guaranteed with Lola. And I can use Trial by Fire to give myself Intellect 5, which becomes 6 with Lola. And then I can commit these 2 for a +2. And assuming that's enough, we would advance. Now, is this actually important to note? I believe we can advance whenever we want. This is not a forced advancement. It's just important because in that case, I can do that first. And weep in sorrow if that doesn't work. But basically, the reason I care is I do want to, you know, just for honor's sake, I want to try to clear the lodge depths. But I can do that after I get the last clue. So first action, or first up, I'm going to spend 6 resources, plus Lola, get a clue. Note that the Hunting Nightgaunt, it might seem like it's at Preston's location, but it's at the at downtown. Then I'm going to play Trial by Fire. And I set my intellect to 5, base intellect to 5, so 6 with Lola. 7, 8, let's investigate, first action. We draw 0, we got there, people, we got there. Hoo-wee! Man, wow, okay. Spent 10 resources to clear lodge depths, which it's most expensive card in the game. I think it's now tied with extensive research, but yeah, it's Preston's weakness, and you can see how you clear it. It's just lots of money. And then we will take the relic. The relic is recovered if it was attached to... that's not the right... Sorry, it's supposed to be this one. The relic is found. If it was attached to the town hall, after an hour of searching Arkham's town hall, you notice a faint blue glow emanating from underneath the door to the city planner's office. You break into the office without being noticed. The relic is lying on his desk, along with a map of the city that is covered in strange markings and iconography. Why is it here? The investigator nearest the town hall takes control of the Relic of Ages. Remove the remainder of the AB deck from the game. If another act card is in play, continue playing. Otherwise, proceed to R1. With 1 Doom left. Or rather, we would have lost next turn. We got there. We got there, everybody. Resolution 1. You arrive back at your home to take stock of the situation. Your investigation throughout the city has uncovered the existence of a secret cabal within Arkham. From what you can tell, they call themselves the Brotherhood, and they seem to know more about the Atsley Relic and Alejandro's previous expedition than even you do. Their methods are secret and furtive, and their motives elude you still. However, one piece of vital information has come to light. They seek a place known as the Nexus of Enkai, Ichitaka claims. A map of Central America lies on the table before you, marked with the previous expedition trail. I have heard of this place, but its exact location is not known to me. Once again, your mysterious guide appears to know more than she lets on. With no other leads to follow, you are left with no choice. Once more, you must journey into uncharted territory in search of answers. But will anyone return this time? Check which acts were completed during this scenario. If Act 3B was completed, recording a campaign log that the investigators found the missing relic. I will choose to mostly skip the story text here because I think it's more fun if it's actually part of the campaign, and if you haven't played it yet, please play it. I actually want to take a moment to talk about that in a second. I'll read the rest of the thing first. The lead investigators earn Victory X, and we earn an additional 1 XP for every Act 1 card that was completed during the scenario as we gain insight into the schemes of the Brotherhood. We earn Victory, not that one, but Victory 1. This is not a VP, but Victory 2, Victory 3. I actually just want to move these over here. Didn't get that one. Tried very hard. Didn't get it. But we did get this one. And we also got Maria da Silva. And we completed all 3 decks completely. So that's an additional 3 XP. So this would be 8 XP. Not the train tricks. Hold on. That's the wrong one. It should be this one. So yeah, this is Threads of Fate. I hope you enjoyed. There's more text normally, but skipping that because it's not part of the campaign. I actually do want to take a moment. If you've made it this far, first of all, thank you very much. Secondly, if you haven't played TFA, the Forgotten Age TFA, please do. I know it's known as like this pretty terrifying campaign, very difficult, very punishing. And to an extent it is, but it's also really, really good, and you are really doing yourself a disservice not playing it. If you want, look up online, ask on Reddit, ask in the Discord, advice for people going into TFA. You can mention me. I'm at Wern212. You can see my username in the top right here. Please ask for advice. The one thing that Forgotten Age especially is it is especially punishing for the first time going through, but on subsequent runs, the campaign is incredibly deep, it is incredibly nuanced, there's a lot of story, and it's actually like one of my favorites, right? It is deep and evocative, and I really like it, and I really think people who are scared off are doing themselves a disservice. Not saying that it's weird, because it is a really punishing campaign, but there is a that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a bad campaign. It's not badly written. It's not necessarily badly designed, though. You know, that one's a little bit more for debate. Also, Return to Forgotten Age is coming out soon, and that might be something I do a campaign run through of if people are interested. So with all that being said, of course, before I finish everything, let's talk real quick about decks. So once again, thanks to Snack for making the snacks for making the deck. It was super fun. Preston is weird. I definitely feel like having a little bit of experience with Preston now, it's a lot easier to pilot him than before. The first couple of times we played him, I really felt like he was difficult to pilot, didn't have anything to do. But yeah, I mean, Lala Santiago obviously is a great way to turn money into clues. And his survivor access really makes him, makes that stat line a lot less relevant. We've seen recently with Preston and Calvin, but also Patrice to a lesser extent, that stat lines aren't as relevant for survivors, or rather, survivors don't care about weak stats as much as other investigators. They can push through that. They have Rise to the Occasion, they have other cards. And Stella is still my favorite. She got really harshly dunked on this scenario. I still think she performed reasonably well. I mean, I think Preston definitely is MVP today, but Stella just got, the one hit hard blow after the other. She lost like 7 or 8 cards to that amnesia. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep playing her. Sorry, if you don't want to watch me play Stella, then maybe don't subscribe to the channel, because it's gonna happen more. I just favorite investigator. Sorry, not sorry. Hey, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend if you watch this anytime near when it comes out. If not, have a great day or have a great weekend. I don't care. Just have a great time. And thanks for watching. And I'll be seeing you until the end of time.